Jordan, thank you very much for talking to us. And first off, I want to say thank you on behalf of any people like me who like to half-ass a Halloween costume, because you've given everyone the easiest costume in the world.
That's right. Just get a red jumpsuit and a twin.
Your own face.
Yes, your own face is you are your own worst enemies. You are the monster. Yeah.
So if you could kind of explain for the viewers something about the plot of Us, what's the kind of elevator pitch on this film?
I would say if like this is the if you haven't even seen the trailer, this is what I would tell you. This is a story about a woman who experiences a trauma as a child, and then when she gets older and she has a family, her trauma comes back, and her trauma has a family.
Very good. Okay. You were in the fantastic horror documentary recently, Horror Noir.
Yes.
Which you talked, watching that, you're astonished almost by the kind of the stereotyping that's happened in horror films around race. This film really is, it was said last night at the screening, one of the first times we've seen a black middle class family as the sort of heroes in a horror film.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel proud that it's you that did it? Kind of angry that it's 2019 and this is the first time a mainstream audience is seeing this?
I think both. I mean, the anger is part of a larger awakening and understanding of the sort of systemic failure in representation, and that it's about more than movies. It's about how we see ourselves as Black people, as African Americans, and it's about how other groups view us as well. I've to have a family buy a boat in a movie is a new concept, and that to me is a symptom, but also part of the problem with why we can't sort of like get past a racial conundrum. I'm also proud that I get to do this. I get to put this beautiful family on screen and reap the benefits of it.
And decide that they don't have to die in the first 5 minutes.
I mean, that's a big piece of the puzzle too. I think part of the reasons Black people have been relegated to certain archetypes in these movies, and certainly horror movies, is obviously we haven't allowed Black auteurs to make movies. We haven't invested in minority talent, and so we're in an era now where the realization that there is good business and good story, regardless of who's telling the story, it makes this a very exciting era to be a filmmaker.
You mentioned the word auteur just then. I'm glad you did. Sort of Get Out really did for you as a director, put you in that position where you could dictate what happens next.
Yes.
You didn't play it safe. This. If you kind of forgive the word, it's a wacky idea. There's some wacky ideas in this. Did you have any kind of sort of reticence about how to follow up that film? It's such a weight on your shoulders, surely.
Yeah, I mean, Get Out was sort of hit that was so out of the box because I was making it for me. I didn't several years in that script. I thought I was writing a script for me to read. And to get better as a writer and to entertain myself with, this would be the best movie if someone would ever make it. That was the project. So when that movie worked and the fantastic response came, I knew I had to sort of return to this idea of write a movie for you to read.
Yeah.
And then trust that people would dig it.
In that case, I worry about what goes on in your head, Jordan, I've got to say.
Some very, very dark things.
We're a music publication. Looney's song is a recurring theme in the song. I got a 5 on it. It's a recurring theme, but it starts off as a kind of a playful thing in the car. Suddenly becomes this horror theme. Did you always think that that was a spooky song?
Yes. I mean, I always loved it, but I thought that sort of that riff it reminded me of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right, yeah. It just gets incredible. I mean, I don't know if I'll feel the same when I hear that song again. I used to think that was a real banger, but now I'm just going to be...
I love taking a song and throwing a new context at it. You'll never... Yeah, and there's a couple other ones we do that with in this film where some iconic music that I think is now changed.
On that tip, there's a Thriller T-shirt that plays a role in it. I don't know what the kind of the sequence of events was, but obviously since the Michael Jackson documentary came out, that's sort of attained a level of significance, that Thriller T-shirt. Did you kind of preempt that that was going to come to a head, the Jackson story?
I didn't know that this documentary was coming out, but you know, in many ways, the duality of Michael Jackson has, you know, of course, been well documented.
Because we're acting like this is a new thing because of this documentary. It's almost like we've got this collective amnesia that we've known this sort of stuff for a while, haven't we?
Yes, I mean, you know, the sort of there's this murky area when it comes to the specifics of his story and all that. So, you know, I think it addresses this idea of you know, the shadow self, and when we talk about the collective shadow self, what this film is really about, involves an ability for us to ignore the truth and the darker side of ourselves, and that's kind of a perfect symbol for what this movie's about, as it turns out.
That's great. So I've got a couple of minutes left, so just a few quick fire ones. Lupita apparently was in character quite a lot. She's terrifying in this film. Were you slightly scared of her when she was doing
that? Not only slightly. I mean, I'd give her a note and feel like I was about to get stabbed in the neck with some scissors.
Hands Across America plays a role. You were about 7 when that happened. Did you take part, and where were you?
I did not take part. But you know, all these things, you know, the Thriller video, Hands Across America, they would sort of represent in retrospect, an American sense of duality. And there was something about Hands Across America that scared me, and I didn't know why.
Right.
And I think I think just as a starting point, you have to listen to these images that have haunted you, and my responsibility as a director is to, you know, allow myself to be led by the gut and analyze it.
Creepiness in something happy. And finally, you're in Toy Story. Have you managed to inject some horror in there? Does your character kill Woody or something?
Yes, Bunny has a pair of scissors that he enacts carnage. No, that was ironically my second bunny-centric movie of the year.
Of course, yeah. Of
course. But such a pleasure to get to work with Keegan again. The movie is going to be incredible. As you know, the Toy Story movies always get better and better, and this is no different. And I'm very proud.
That's great, Jordan. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
All right, you have a good one. Nice shirt.